Hi, once again, today is Monday, January 22nd, 2024. I just read a very small article about hooking. This time I'm going to read a little bit longer context, longer article so that I could read this for 20 to 30 minutes. It's getting late. It's 10:36 p.m. So I have to go to sleep. But I have to read this one for you and for me. The reason I am trying to read this article is to pick up knowledge about hooking because one of my customers asked about the difference between API and hooking techniques. I said, well, hooking is the interception, while API is a legitimate exchange of data on a mutual trust basis agreement protocol. But that was just about it. It was my guess, my hunch, which was right, but I was not professional enough to explain the differences. And also, I am always trying to read an English article of 20 to 30 minute length so that I could practice English by reading it aloud, by focusing on the exact pronunciation, and by trying to memorize new words, expressions, cliches, idioms, good sentences, or peculiar sentences so that I could use them whenever I interact with foreigners in my life, in my company work, whatever they are. Yes, I am working for Korea Telecom KT, the number one carrier in Korea. But in several years later, down the road, I have to retire. Yes. So that I am hoping to have an overseas job like in the United States or Canada or in Europe, particularly Germany or Netherlands or Denmark for that matter, and also France, Italy, why not? Or Austria sounds good. I've never been there. And Australia and New Zealand, hey, I cannot resist if you give me a good offer. So reading an English article each day is quite important for me. And tonight I'm going to read some technical stuff. This article is from calltutors.com. The name is a little bit refreshingly attractive. Call tutors. I don't know what call tutors are. Call tutors. Maybe they tutor by calling. Learn with experts. What is a hook in programming and why is it important? www.calltutors.com. What is a hook in programming and why is it important? By calltutors.com. Since hooking has become a crucial concept in computer programming, therefore it has become a need of an hour. It has become a need of an hour to know what is a hook and how it is essential for programmers. Programmers are well familiar with this term, but if you are not a programmer and want to know what exactly hook is in programming, you are on the right spot. A hook is basically a place where you can insert coding to monitor a program's functioning. That's good definition. Let's remember the definition, man, by underlining it. A hook is basically a place where you can insert coding, right? Insert coding to monitor a program's functioning, right? Programs functioning. You insert coding, not codes, yeah, maybe codes, but coding to monitor a program's functioning. This blog will help to understand hook and the other aspects in relation to hook in programming. Table of contents, I will skip that. A hook is a place or an interface present in packaged code that allows you to insert a customized program in programming, right? Interface. A hook is a place or an interface present in packaged code that allows you to insert a customized program in programming. For example, as a programmer want to provide a code that analyzes the frequency of a particular logic path within the program. Hooks are given for a prescribed purpose and are pre-documented accordingly for the programmer. So these are to be used appropriately so that it can be used to perform the core of the function of hooking. Otherwise, it may lead to the destruction of the program. This is also a reason to carefully understand what is a hook. For example, you as a programmer want to provide a code that analyzes the frequency of a particular logic path within the program. Meaning of hook. In computer programming, programmers use a technique to modify or extend applications, operating systems, or other software components through intercepting calls or messages or events occurring within such components. Not telephone calls, right? Through intercepting calls or messages, not text messages on your smartphone. It's just small snippets of code between the programs. Intercepting calls or messages or events occurring within such components. Code that is used to perform intercepting such call messages or events is called a hook. Code that is used to perform intercepting such call messages or events is called a hook. Example. Browsers also use the hook function to make it simple for antivirus software in order to scan downloads. The interesting fact about the same is that when it starts a download, it says, "Hey, anyone listening? I'm starting a download," and thereby other programs can also react to the same. You won't be able to understand this procedure unless you know what is a hook. The interesting fact about the same is that when it starts a download, it says, "Hey, anyone listening? I'm starting a download," and thereby other programs can also react to the same. You won't be able to understand this procedure unless you know what is a hook. Okay, I would like to know more about hook. Why is it important to know what is a hook? Why it is important to know what is a hook. Okay, there's 5 reasons. 1, it changes it's grammatically wrong. It changes the behavior of a program. Number 2, it adds new functionalities to applications. 3, it ensures intercommunication between processes and messages. Number 4, enable functions for each message. Number 5, informs us about new things in the program. 1. Hooking allows a programmer to change the behavior of a program. Code in a program gives this feature to modify the program's original behavior without changing the codes of the corresponding class. And all this is done by hook function. Thereby, the need to understand hooks arises. 2. Secondly, the hook function helps to add new functionalities to applications. 3. It ensures the intercommunication between the other processes and messages of the system. 4. The major aspect of knowing about hooks is that it may degrade the performance of a program due to an increase in processing load, and it is required to perform these functions for each message. Thus, it should be cautiously handled, and it must be installed when it is much needed, and thereby can remove it as soon as possible. 5. If we say in common parlance what is a hook, then it is a kind of function which allows a programmer to modify or extend the behavior of the existing system or program. If we can extend any Chrome or browser, then it is because of hooks in such Chrome or browser. In a nutshell, as a result, to summarize, right? To be succinctly summarize what I've been saying, in a nutshell, let's remember the expression, man. In a nutshell, if we say what is a hook, it is like you fix your program so that if any particular thing happens in such a program, it will inform you. That is why some developers put this function intentionally. Yeah, table-order system, man. T-order, you got them, mother. What is a hook, right? In a nutshell. What is a hook? What is a hook as a design patterns? One interesting fact about the hook is that now all the design patterns typically semantics for hooks. Let me read this more carefully. One interesting fact about the hook is that now all the design patterns typify. Okay, so typify is the verb. One interesting fact about the hook is that now all the design patterns typify semantics for hooks. Thereby, semantics is generally expressed in the hooks with the name of in the command. The main function of hook as design patterns is to implement subsystems of hotspots. If you are a video games lover, you should also know what is a hook, as hooks in action also support video games. Two concepts of hook. It is imperative to know the concept of IAT hooking and inline hooking to understand what is a hook as it performs the function of hooking in the program. 1. IAT hooking. Import address table hooking. IAT. Import address table hooking. In programming, the operating system is responsible for loading executable files into memory on double-clicking or otherwise. Here, loading means to read and interpret the bytes of the program on disk. Loading also finds out which part of the program will go where and how the file will be saved in the program. A running program is basically a simple set of instructions and data which are loaded in the memory of the program, and it consists of one thread executing instructions. One thread executing instructions. One thread executing instructions. So what does it mean? I don't know. It obfuscates my idea, man. 2. Inline hooking. So I think the definition or description or explanation of IAT hooking here is quite obfuscate me, quite vague, not or too much esoteric, or it doesn't give us the ballpark concept, basic concept, rudimentary, or bone steel bone concept. It doesn't. 2. Inline hooking. Inline hooking and IAT hooking are almost similar, and the basic difference between the two is that inline hooking writes the malicious functionality into a legitimate DLL instead of misguiding a victim file. Types of hooks. To know more about hooks in programming, we should look into its types. Following are the types of hooks. 1. Virtual method table hooking. The virtual method is similar to the static method, but we can modify virtual methods comparatively as the computer does not know the address of a particular virtual function when we put it in the code. This is why the computer builds a virtual method table to provide a method to search the function address. Meanwhile, VMT uses more memory and also runs faster. Conclusively, VMT has pointers with memory addresses for interface functioning. It must be performed to replace the original memory address with address of the valid hook function. Thereby, hooking performs the vital function in a program. 2. Hooking API. API stands for an application programming interface. This method is used to reprogram the function of the operating system, as we can change the parameters of commands by modifying the action that was performed originally. It also specifies the significance of the hook. Quick links. Is PHP programming language? What does experts think? Which programming language to learn for the beginners? Conclusion. Hook has emerged as an important tool for programmers, as they can modify and extend the code of the program or system. Hooking is a technique to change the behavior of the operating system or of other softwares. I don't know, softwares can be a plural. I've never seen softwares. Software is more appropriate here, man. Thus, it helps them to modify or monitor the functioning of a program accordingly. For example, debugging. After understanding the concept and significance of a hook in programming, we have learned how important it is to know what is a hook in today's time. I don't know, this English is a little bit non-English, man. And if you need any computer science assignment help, then you can contact us anytime. We are 24/7 available for your help. I don't know, you just do the homework for other students? Are you ethically good company? Yes, it is. I like this company, man. Frequently asked questions. What is the main purpose of hooking in programming? In programming, the term hooking covers a range of methods used to adjust or augment an operating system's behavior, acts, or other software parts by intercepting function calls or events or messages passed between software segments. What is the method of inserting hooks? Generally, hooks are inserted when the software is already being run, but hooking is inserted before the app starts. There are two types of hooking. One is a source modification, and the other is a runtime modification. What is a hooking in cybersecurity? Code hooking is an extremely intrusive coding activity where primarily OS function calls are intercepted by a program to augment or alter their behavior. Antivirus does this all the time when they find a piece of malware or when some modified routine is behaving badly. Similar articles, R versus Python for data science, which is best? Leave a comment. So from this article, it's quite difficult, but from this article, I learned such expressions as in a nutshell, bottom line. No, there's no bottom line. Obfuscate my mind in a nutshell. That's just about it. I'm getting really tired now. I have to go to bed now. Hit the sack.